April 2020, Caribbean Sea. Venezuela's newest warship closed on a U.S. Navy research vessel. The USNV Resolute, unarmed, conducting acoustic research. The Venezuelan warship Naiguatá, $85 million patrol vessel, armed with deck guns and anti-ship missiles, ordered to harass the American ship, force it out of the region. Venezuelan commanders expected easy intimidation. One warship versus one unarmed research vessel. Then, the Americans activated something Venezuela didn't know existed. A sonic shield, acoustic weapon system that turned the Caribbean into a nightmare for Venezuelan sailors. Within hours, Naiguatá limped back to port. Systems damaged, crew incapacitated. $85 million warship crippled without a single shot fired. Caracas was furious and terrified because they'd just encountered technology they couldn't counter. USNV Resolute isn't your typical Navy ship. It's an oceanographic research vessel operated by the Office of Naval Research. Official mission: study underwater acoustics, sound propagation, marine biology. But here's what the official mission description doesn't mention. Resolute also tests advanced acoustic weapon systems, non-lethal directed energy weapons using sound. Classified programs developing next-generation naval defense technology. The ship looks harmless. No visible weapons, no missile launchers, no deck guns. Just arrays of sensors and hydrophones. Equipment that appears purely scientific. But those arrays serve dual purpose. They don't just listen to ocean sounds, they generate them. Specifically designed to produce acoustic energy at frequencies and power levels that can disable ships and incapacitate crews. April 2020. USNV Resolute, conducting operations 80 nautical miles north of Venezuelan coast. International waters, perfectly legal. Collecting data on Caribbean acoustic conditions. Venezuela saw opportunity. An unarmed American vessel, operating alone, no escort, no protection, perfect target for harassment. The Venezuelan Navy dispatched Naiguatá, their newest and most capable patrol vessel. Commissioned in 2009, built in Spain, length 80 meters, displacement 1,700 tons, top speed 23 knots. Armed with one OTO Melara 76mm deck gun, two 25mm autocannons, 4 anti-ship missile launchers. By Caribbean standards, this was serious firepower. The mission was simple: close on the American vessel, demand they leave the area, claim they're operating too close to Venezuelan waters, create an incident demonstrating Venezuelan sovereignty. Venezuelan commanders assumed the Americans would comply, or protest through diplomatic channels. Either way, Venezuela wins propaganda victory. They didn't expect the Americans to fight back, especially not with weapons Venezuela had never encountered. Naiguatá approached USNV Resolute at high speed, aggressive maneuver, closing to 2 nautical miles, well within weapons range. The Venezuelan warship transmitted on international frequencies, Spanish and English. American vessel, you are operating in the Venezuelan exclusive economic zone. Depart immediately or face consequences. Complete nonsense. Resolute was 80 nautical miles from the Venezuelan coast. International waters. No EEZ violation. Pure Venezuelan fabrication. Resolute responded calmly. Venezuelan Navy vessel. We are conducting lawful operations in international waters under freedom of navigation principles. We will not alter course. Naiguatá is close to 1 nautical mile. Even more aggressive, deck gun trained on Resolute. Fire control, radar active, clear threat. Venezuelan commanders thought they had the upper hand. Armed warship versus unarmed research vessel. Americans would have to back down or call for help. Either way, hours before US Navy reinforcements could arrive. But Resolute didn't call for help, didn't alter course, didn't show any sign of concern. Instead, the ship's acoustic arrays activated, not for research, for defense. What happened next isn't publicly acknowledged by the US Navy, but intelligence reports and Venezuelan military documents tell the story. USNV Resolute's acoustic arrays began generating high-intensity, low-frequency sound, not audible to human ears. below 20 Hz. Infrasound, but incredibly powerful. The sound waves propagated through the water, struck Naiguatá's hull. The steel hull acted like a speaker membrane, vibrating, resonating, amplifying the acoustic energy. Inside the Venezuelan warship, crew members felt immediate effects: intense pressure in their chests, difficulty breathing, disorientation, nausea, severe headaches. The ship's systems began malfunctioning, electronics experiencing interference, navigation systems showing false readings, communications disrupted, fire control radar losing lock intermittently. The acoustic weapon exploited known vulnerabilities in ship design. Modern warships have hollow spaces, compartments, passages. Sound waves propagate through these spaces, reflect, amplify, create standing waves that shake the entire structure. Naiguatá's crew couldn't understand what was happening. No visible attack, no kinetic weapons, no explosions. Just overwhelming physical discomfort and cascading system failures. Within 15 minutes, Venezuelan commanders ordered retreat. Crew couldn't function. Systems unreliable. Mission impossible to continue. Naiguatá turned away, heading back toward Venezuelan territorial waters. But the acoustic weapon had already done its damage. As Naiguatá retreated, systems continued failing. The acoustic assault had caused mechanical and electronic damage beyond immediate crew incapacitation. The ship's propulsion system developed problems. Vibrations damaged bearings in the propeller shaft. Engine mounts cracked from resonant stress. Maximum speed reduced from 23 knots to 15 knots. Fire control radar never fully recovered. Intermittent failures, tracking problems. The precise alignment of radar components had been disrupted by acoustic vibration. Communications equipment required complete replacement. Circuit boards cracked. Solder joints failed. Acoustic stress had literally shaken electronics apart at microscopic level. Most critically, crew members required medical attention. Over 40 sailors reported symptoms: severe headaches lasting days, hearing problems, balance issues, psychological effects, including anxiety and sleep disturbances. Venezuelan Navy doctors had never seen this pattern of injuries. No blast trauma, no burns, no projectile wounds, just systemic physiological effects consistent with acoustic weapon exposure. Naiguatá spent 3 weeks in port. Repairs cost over $2 million. Some systems never returned to full capability. The $85 million warship had been functionally crippled by an acoustic weapon it never saw and couldn't counter. The Venezuelan government response was predictable: fury, accusations, propaganda. President Maduro gave speeches condemning American acoustic terrorism, claimed the U.S. had attacked a Venezuelan warship in international waters with experimental weapons. The Venezuelan military released heavily edited videos, showed Naiguatá approaching an American vessel. They claimed they were forced to retreat by directed energy attack, causing casualties among crew. The narrative served domestic propaganda purposes, portrayed Venezuela as a victim of American aggression, justified military spending, rallied nationalist sentiment. But behind closed doors, Venezuelan military leadership was terrified. They'd sent their newest warship against an unarmed research vessel, lost decisively, suffered casualties and equipment damage without ever being shot at, against a weapon they couldn't see, couldn't counter, couldn't even understand. The Venezuelan Navy conducted an urgent assessment. How many American vessels carried similar weapons? What was the effective range? How could Venezuelan ships defend against acoustic attacks? The answers weren't encouraging. Intelligence suggested multiple U.S. research vessels and some warships carried acoustic weapon systems. Effective range appeared to be at least 2 nautical miles, maybe more. And defense? Nearly impossible. You can't armor against sound waves. They penetrate steel hulls. Can't jam acoustic weapons like you jam radar. Can't shoot them down like missiles. Venezuelan military planners realized they faced a technological threat with no viable countermeasure. Acoustic weapons aren't science fiction. They're real, and they're devastating against naval targets. The principle is simple. Sound is vibration. High-intensity sound creates powerful vibrations. Directed at ships, these vibrations cause mechanical stress and physiological effects. Low-frequency sound, infrasound, below 20 Hz is particularly effective. It's not audible, but it penetrates structures easily, resonates in human body cavities, disrupts organ function, causes disorientation and nausea. The U.S. Navy has researched acoustic weapons for decades. LRAD long-range acoustic device is the most publicly known system. Used for crowd control and communication, can cause pain and disorientation at range. But research vessels like USNV Resolute test far more advanced systems, higher power, lower frequencies, specifically designed for naval applications. These weapons exploit ship vulnerabilities. Modern warships are complex structures with many potential resonance frequencies. Hit the right frequency at sufficient power, and you create destructive vibration throughout the hull. Electronic systems are particularly vulnerable. Circuit boards can only handle limited vibration. Solder joints crack. Components misalign. Even brief exposure to high-intensity acoustic energy can cause permanent damage. Human crews are the weakest link. Acoustic weapons at the right frequencies cause immediate physiological effects. Nausea, disorientation, incapacitation. No permanent injury necessarily, but completely effective at rendering crews unable to function. And the best part from a military perspective? Acoustic weapons are non-lethal. Systems like the so-called US Sonic Shield don't need to destroy ships, just shut them down. They don't kill, they disable. That avoids international condemnation while achieving tactical objectives. The Naiguatá incident fundamentally changed Venezuelan naval strategy regarding US vessels. It started as a simple harassment mission and ended with Caracas furious that a harmless research ship had crippled their $85 million warship. Before April 2020, Venezuelan warships regularly harassed American ships operating near Venezuelan waters. Close approaches, aggressive maneuvers, radar locks, testing, American resolve. After April 2020, Venezuelan ships maintain much greater distance from American vessels, especially research ships. The lesson was learned painfully, but the implications extend far beyond Venezuela. Every navy operating in contested waters took notice. Russian Navy vessels conducting operations near U.S. ships became more cautious. Chinese warships shadowing American carriers maintained greater separation. Iranian fast boats in the Persian Gulf reduced aggressive swarming tactics. Because if the U.S. has acoustic weapons on research vessels, what do actual warships carry? Destroyers? Cruisers? Aircraft carriers? The acoustic weapon on USNV Resolute is likely a test system. Lower power, limited range. Imagine what a destroyer-mounted system could do. Full power, extended range, multiple arrays for 360-degree coverage. Adversary navies face uncomfortable reality. Getting close to American warships, even to threaten them, risks acoustic weapon attack. And there's no effective defense, no countermeasure, just vulnerability. This creates a new form of deterrence. Area denial through acoustic weapons. Keep adversary ships at distance without firing conventional weapons. Disable harassers without killing anyone. Achieve tactical objectives while maintaining legal and moral high ground. The $85 million Venezuelan warship crippled by a U.S. sonic shield represents the future of naval warfare. Directed energy weapons, non-lethal, impossible to defend against, perfectly suited for gray zone conflicts where shooting starts wars but acoustic attacks don't. Venezuela sent their best warship against what they thought was a helpless target, lost decisively without Americans firing a single conventional weapon. Naiguatá limped home, damaged, crew incapacitated. Mission failed. Propaganda victory turned into humiliating defeat. For Caracas, it wasn't just a tactical loss. It was a brutal reminder that fury means nothing against a weapon you can't even see. Caracas was furious. But fury doesn't overcome technological disadvantage. Venezuela has no acoustic weapons, no defense against them, no answer to American capability. The incident sent a message to every navy that harasses U.S. vessels. We don't need to shoot you. We have weapons you can't see, can't counter, can't escape. Get too close, and you'll regret it, without ever being fired upon. That's the future, and Venezuela learned it the hard way. If you want more stories about cutting-edge military technology and how next-generation weapons change naval warfare, hit that subscribe button for Battlescope. Don't forget to smash that like button and share this video with anyone interested in directed energy weapons and modern naval tactics. Drop a comment below. Should acoustic weapons be considered non-lethal, or are they too dangerous for routine use? Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay informed, and remember the most dangerous weapons are the ones you never see coming.